Welcome to the Narrate podcast, where we aim to tell God's story with our lives. We'll be continuing to post the Sunday message each week, but we want to dive a little deeper and offer some content to supplement your life with God, and that's where our Beyond Sunday series comes in. Join Adam and Narrate staff as they provide thoughtful discussions, ideas, and interviews that go beyond the message you'll hear on Sunday.
I'm here with Pete and Kari Brustkern, who've been owners at Narrate for years now. Do you want to start by telling us your faith journey, how you were raised, your experience of God growing up into adulthood, whatever you'd like to share?
Sure.
Go for it.
I was born and raised in the Highline area of Montana. I grew up in the Catholic Church. Primarily that was under the leadership of my mom. My dad went on the holidays, but other than that, it was mostly my mom that made sure that I got to the religious ed every week, and that was a big piece of my growing up. There was a great program at the Catholic Church there that when you were a freshman, a couple adopted that freshman class and then walked with you through high school and did all the religious ed with you that whole time. And that couple was very influential in my growing up and in my college years. And I still hear from them. They came to our wedding. They were excited about our kids. They came to my mom's funeral. It turned into a really big part of my life.
Yeah.
So very blessed that way. And then after graduation, I attended Carroll College. So I got to continue traveling with the Catholic faith and learning more on that journey. And then about halfway through my career, I took a job at Carroll. And so I got to continue participating in all the activities that they had at Carroll. And that was really fun because now I was the adult, kind of being a mentor to younger students and kind of paying that back. Because I just felt that I'd had such good mentors that was important to be involved in some of those programs. So worked in the searches, went on some retreats, did all that kind of fun stuff. And in the meantime, Pete and I were married. We have 3 kids. We raised them in the Catholic Church. It was a real blessing that the 3 of them also attended Carroll. And that was really neat for us because we could go to church with them on the weekends still. So we would attend the church services there. The biggest problem with that is when school is out, there is no church. So over Christmas break or over the summer, there just wasn't a service. So that kind of is where Narrate comes in, is because we saw an ad one time that the author of The Shack was going to be at a service that Narrate was holding.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved that book. I bought 52 copies and gave them to everybody I knew. And so we went. And not only was the speaker good, that was awesome, but we were like, this place is kind of special. What do we like about it? I don't know, but it was just special. And then when Christmas time came around, we didn't have a place for a service because the school was closed, so we're like, maybe we should attend the Civic Center event. And we really, really liked that. And then in, I think, 2019 was kind of a New Year's resolution that we were going to try coming to Narrate every Sunday and see how that was. And I laugh because, and he hasn't said it in a while, but Adam always laughs about the people that hide in the balcony.
Right.
That was us.
Yeah.
We would sneak up there, get all settled back where it was dark, kind of wait till everybody left, hustle out of there. And then shortly before COVID, we said, well, maybe we should try sitting down in the lower area and see how that is. And it went pretty good, and then there was COVID. And then we kind of stopped doing that for a bit of time. We listened online when those services were on YouTube and that. And then when we came back from COVID, that's when the Matthew group was started. And we had a kind of discussion about, are we group people? Are we not group people? And we're like, well, worst case, it's only 6 weeks. And then we thought, really worst case, we could just go once and make up an excuse and never come back. But it was fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go on with that, you want to talk about your faith journey?
Well, I was brought up Episcopalian, and I was raised in Bozeman, and went to church with both my parents. But then I kind of faded away from church, like in my high school years, and really never really went back until I met Kari, and then started going to the Catholic Church, and kind of just followed her after that.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And you followed her to Narrate.
Yep.
And now you've been here for years.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay, tell us how you showed up to the Matthew group 6-week commitment in April of 2021.
Yes. And we met at the 10 Mile.
We met at 10 Mile. I think Anna was leading it,
Yep.
and I was just a part. You were a part.
Right. And we started in, and one of the first questions that first night we got home were like, how are we going to go through all of Matthew in 6 weeks?
Right.
I mean, and then it was like, and then plus we had a Mother's Day special and some things, and then it was like, by then when the 6 weeks were done, it's like, but we're not done.
Right.
So a handful of people said, well, maybe we should just keep meeting, and then we did, and then Matthew kind of wrapped up, and we kind of regrouped, and we're like, we like this.
Mm-hmm.
Do people just want to talk about whatever the message was on Sunday?
Yeah.
And we laughed. We're like, well, if we're not a Matthew group, what are we? And then we kind of just decided we'd be the Matthew group, even though Matthew was over. And I kind of took on the role when we regrouped of gathering up some questions every week. So kind of the method to my madness, listen to the message on Sunday, and then that podcast is posted quite rapidly. And so Monday when I go for a run, I listen to it one more time. And then on that's Monday. And it's always fun when they tape the other service, because there's a little bit different twist on things. So it's a blessing to get to hear both services.
Uh-huh.
And then Tuesday, I just let it kind of rattle around in my head. And then Wednesday, I sit down and try to write questions. Lots of, what's your perspective on something Adam said, or what did you think about this quote? And then I think that my favorite part is when we talk about how do you practically put that into your life. Because it's one thing to talk about all this theory, and even to kind of think, yeah, that's a good idea, but really the tough part is how do we do that, and what's worked for each other,
Mm-hmm.
what hasn't, and it's just such a gift. The group is a fun group of people because it's different ages, way different backgrounds,
Right.
some retired people, some people that are still working, some married couples. It's just such a diverse group that it's just fun to hear everybody's story, and pick up little pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It just helps the message also be more than something you just heard on Sunday.
Right.
You can turn it into real life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the diversity too, you get a lot of different. That's what makes that other question so good. Of, what do you do and how do you implement it? Well, there's a lot of different ideas because the different people and the different experiences, life experiences they've had. It makes it real nice because, like, you can pick up, a piece here, a piece there, and just helps you in your own faith life to better keep in touch, and
It also keeps you accountable. Everybody is counting on each other to be there on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So that's fun too.
Yeah. I think being a part of it now for it'll be 4 years here in April, it is a good, I think sometimes it's easy to listen and then on Sunday and then kind of just go about your life. And it's so helpful then to revisit that a few days later and think about, oh yeah, that was super helpful, or what you noticed. Now I forgot about that. That is helpful. Or it's just like a good reminder and a good prompt that I think for me really helps kind of solidify those big themes or those things that I really enjoyed on Sunday. It's a good kind of, it lets it sit in my brain for a few days, and then we can come together and talk about it.
The other thing that's great about the group is it's a good balance of serious, because there's lots of serious things to talk about,
Yeah.
and lighthearted and laughter, and it's just such a great way to meet other people in the community. One other great thing that's come out of it for Pete and I is that's how we got linked into the group that does work at God's Love, was through our small group. And that's become something that we care very much about, and we would have never even been aware that that was an option or something people were doing if we hadn't been part of this group, and it was just linking us to other people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What would you say, I'm trying to think, for people that do sit in the balcony, and that's great, sit in the balcony as long as you need. What were some of the things that kind of drew you out and then prompted you to go, no, I want more from this community?
To be completely honest, the first time we sat down low was on a dare from our oldest daughter. Because she's like, you always say it's good to do things that make you uncomfortable. And
Ooh, and she called you out.
she's like, so why don't you try sitting down there? And we're like, no, thanks. And then she just kind of kept elbowing us about it, and finally I'm like, fine, we'll do it. This week we'll do it. And then we did, and nothing bad happened.
I love that challenge.
So you gotta be careful what you say to your kids, because sometimes they use it against you. But I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think the thing that I most get out of Narrate is I was missing the relationship piece with Jesus. I knew a lot about liturgy. I was very happy with my Catholic faith, but I don't know that I had a personal relationship with Jesus. And that's what I found at Narrate, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think growing up and stuff, it was more kind of that checklist kind of thing where, you know, if I do this, this, and this, I'll get into heaven. You know, and it really wasn't a relationship. It was, here's your list of things you got to do. Start checking them off. It wasn't as much, now it's way more relational.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the message last week when Brad was talking about, you know, that Jesus was God's beloved son, and he loved him just because he was, and that he loves us just because we are.
Yeah.
And he went to a lot of work to make sure that we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of us is an individual, and I'm finally, after all these years, starting to understand that. And that's just been a real gift from Narrate to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's awesome. We went through my list. Is there anything else you want to add or chat about, or?
I know my favorite thing about the Christmas program is when we get musical instruments.
Yes.
Loved the drumsticks. The kazoos were a close second.
The
Oh, those bells.
The bells were fun.
Because
That's
Casey
right.
had those in
Those
his
are fun.
car till she got rid of it.
So I'm very much looking forward to what the next musical instrument will be, because I've always wanted to be musical. Anytime there's a question, what do you want to volunteer? Well, I want to be in the band, but I have no skills. None. So when they had the kazoo, that was perfect for me.
That's perfect.
So once a year, I get my chance to be in the band.
I love that.
So-
Yes, we'll have to see what the instrument is this year. Do you have any thoughts? Because Leslie's going to listen to this, so.
I don't know. I was a big fan of the drumsticks, but I always wanted to be a drummer.
The drumsticks were fun. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's my one chance a year to live a dream.
I'm really glad that we can be a part of that.
Me too.
I think going, just because right now we've got, sorry, now I'm going back to the book groups. Right now we've got several groups going, and I do love that it's like, okay, it's a 4-week commitment, it's a 6-week commitment, but this is a real testament or a real story to how those can lead to lasting conversations, friendships, groups. And I know our group, I can't even remember who was a part when we started and who's joined, because it really has been a core group of people. And then we've added some really awesome people, and then,
Even as
people drop
much
us.
as yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday
So
was a
it's-
great conversation.
Just it's totally
And
not
we added
exclusive.
someone new.
Everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
it doesn't matter that you weren't in it from the beginning. We'd love to have you join us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it seems like every time somebody joins too, you're always a little nervous, but it's like every time we've had somebody join, it's been, a great addition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At first you're a little nervous, so are they gonna be uptight, or are they gonna, or something, but they've all been really good additions.
Yeah. I would agree.
And so people know too that we meet Thursdays at 4:30 at the 1889 Coffee House. So join us.
Yes.
We even invite people who are just at the coffee house to join us. And
Why
sometime-
not? It's
Yeah.
great.
Remember the time the guy just stopped and sang for us?
Oh,
I
with
do
the hub?
remember this. Yes. That guy stopped and sang. There was another guy when we were at the hub who did sit down and join us.
Yeah.
That was great.
Just a one-off. So
one-off.
Everybody's welcome.
That is true. Everyone's welcome. And if someone has questions, maybe just email me and I'll put them in touch with you.
Perfect.
Or,
I'd love
yes, or on Sunday mornings on the mind maps, on the back, I believe, is our group listed every week in your contact information, Kari.
Okay.
So people can,
We would love
reach out
have
to
you
you.
join us.
yeah, it's an hour. We drink tea and coffee and chat about Sunday.
Say a couple prayers, laugh a few times. It's the best hour of the week.
It's the best hour of the week, yeah. Well, thank you, guys. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for doing this. And every week, it's such a great hour.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you'd like to learn more about Narrate Church, find us online at narratechurch.org.
You can also look us up on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks for listening.